So we've stripped the hood to the metal. Pretty good. Pretty decent gaps. Looking good. Going to have to fix the back end. It's a little wide on that end. But my big thing, if we look across the back edge of the hood, this is high. This part is low, right in the center. And I'm going to open the hood so you can see that. Can you see that? So, right about here, it starts to dive down to the center, and then it comes back up. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a block of wood between the cowl and the hood. I'm going to close the hood, and then I'm going to persuade the hood down here and over there, hoping that that raises this section up. If not, I got to take the hood off, put it on a stand, and then I'm going to have to build some kind of supports that support it here and there while I hammer the middle up. Because I really want to make this hood nice. You can see it's crowned, a couple of high ridges in it, but we're going to be fixing all of that. So for now, I'm going to try to find a piece of wood and see what I can find. This might work. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, I think it does work. Wow, it might be a bit too wide. Yeah, I'm going to try it. Where's my body hammer? Okay. And the other side. See if we gained. Gee, that's tough. Not enough. I do think we gained. I'm going to put the block this way. It's a little more isolated. That's tough. Okay. The socket. Let's see if that works. Okay, so we're keeping tension on the rest of the hood. Jeez. It's going to be back just a bit farther. I want to get that back lip. There we go. And I want it dead center. There. Yeah. I'm liking that. Much better. Much better. See, that's pretty even now. Back all the way over to the edge. There's a bit of a high spot right here. There's nothing to do with what we just did. But if you look now, it's a nice even curve across the back of the hood. And we've got a pretty nice even gap. What we don't have is a proper width back here. And this. And this is nice. We've got the right height all the way, right till we get to here. So I'm going to try to bend this up a hair. You can see right here it takes off. So I'm going to get that boosted up. And I'm probably going to hammer or cut this edge over. As you can see, that line gets tight towards the back of the hood. And when they built this car, that was probably perfectly acceptable. It isn't anymore. So this is the little things that we carry on with until we're really happy with the fit. So that's what I'm going to do for the next while. So you can also enjoy the pain, sharing the pain. So I have covered up this beautiful rad support and those beautiful hinges with leather, clothing, various things. And I keep opening and closing the hood. So I've been cutting this hood more at the back and less and less and less, trying to get this freaking even hood gap. That's what it takes. It was all right. It was factory, which is never very good. So I'm hoping by the time I get here, I don't have to cut and weld anymore. This side over here, I'm pretty damn happy with. It's awesome. So I could move this fender out, but if I did that, the front would be way too wide. It would change the angle at the back to the cowl, which I'm happy with. It would change the bottom of the fender to the door. Moves a lot of things. The least damaging way to get the gaps I wanted was to cut a little over 3 feet along one side of the hood and weld it back up. And we're moving a little over the width of a zip cut blade. That's how thin it is. So I'm cutting with this about 1.5 times. So, but that's enough to give me the room that I'm not going to rub paint when it closes. And you can open and close it 10,000 times. You open a door and close it, it's got to work. Not once, not 100 times, 10,000 times. So, we're not going to open and close it 10,000 times, so we leave ourselves enough tolerance that we know there'll be no issues. So this is what I have been doing for the last couple hours. Careful not to warp anything. Careful to keep things in line. And I'm pretty happy. I've, bolted up the lowers. I'm not happy with this right here. I'm going to do some hammering. There's a light that covers the greater part of this, and there's a grill that covers this. But I still want to fix that up in the center. We've got this side fitting very nice. All that, you see this? What I don't like is a little bit in here. So I'm going to adjust. This is the sharper dip. This is shallow. So I haven't decided. I'll probably dolly this in to make it sharper like the rest. But these are the little things. Then we'll fix this headlight cap. As you can see, I'm not done with the bottom of this fender, but I'm getting my hood done. I'm happy with the side to side. And then I'm going to do, the front of this rocker is getting cut off and replaced. It's got to come out 1/4 inch at the very front. Right about here it starts to dive in. And that's been repaired before. I cleaned up the repair, but without having the car sitting on the frame and the fender's on, didn't realize the issue I had. important thing is we found it. We'll fix this one up too. This side, gap is looking not bad. A little cleanup to do right at the bottom, right? So that's all right. And on the door. But that's a pretty nice clean gap. So we are getting close to going, hey, the metal work's done, but another 2-3 days probably. And then we'll see if we can get the Colby and the Cassidy in to help out. Well, this is what we're up to. Time to rock and roll and carry on. Nice. 3 inches. So once again, we are gapping. You can see this door. I had to do a rust repair here. I want to make this a little tighter all the way up to about here. And then this needs to be ground. I've got to zip cut this so that it doesn't stick out. Right now it sticks out past the rocker. So I'm going to do that too while I'm here. It's all simple stuff to do. It just makes the car way better. You can't normally run that long a bead. The metal's exceptional shape, it's heavy, and it just happens to be going quite well. So I'm keeping an eye on it. I don't want to start diving in. It's pretty nice. I'm probably going to go a little higher. It's a little overkill, but hey, nothing about Lyle car is subtle. So I got to get my zip cut this edge so I can push that back a bit and re-weld it. Okay, now I get a hammer, we tap this in a little, weld it up, and we can start grinding. So, from here to it'll be good. Okay. That's freaking awesome. See? Much better. Now I gotta clean up this edge. The door sits out there. I'm waiting for the latches. They haven't shown up yet. One little bump here I gotta grind off. Weld. That pretty much does it. On this side. Then I can go to the other side. This. Hey there, good day. So today is a big day for most people. I know Lyle will want to see this. We're gonna put on the wheels. Now, our friend Ed had a set, and they're sitting over here, wheels and tires, that we could try out. Now I went and picked them up from Ed's. I thought they were brand new, but I forgot. Ed, Lyle, those kind of guys, they're neat nicks. I mean, look how clean this is. This has got thousands and thousands of miles on it. It's just unbelievable. So, I'm gonna put these on the Nomad and see how they look. This went on the lower rad support. Now this rad is absolutely stunning. Now I did have to do some changes inside the inner fenders. Now one of the guys in the focus group, thank you, mentioned there's a slight variation in width. 55, 56, 57 is a little different in different ways. Some of the holes down low are in a different spot on different gears. Could be, maybe the guy filling up the box shipping stuff shipped a different gear. I don't even know, and it doesn't freaking matter because now it fits. Now we have really nice gaps. This is really coming good. You saw some of this a bit earlier, but I'm pretty happy, stoked about the gaps. So all I have left, down here, I just started zip cutting, and I'm about to take this piece out and replace it so it lines up with the fender. This car's been apart for years. I don't know, 10, 15, 20, not sure. Someone had started doing some repairs. This had been repaired. When I went over it, the car wasn't assembled. I should have waited. So I tried to clean up that area, and once I got the fenders introduced back to the car, I went, oh yeah, that's not in the right place. So I'm gonna fix that, and then finish this gap here, and a bit on the hood. And then I guess we're really freaking close to starting to do body work. I've got a battery box still to do in the back corner. So this, we probably won't put back on the car, but we might. We'll let Lyle decide. So I gotta put it away. But look at these. Those are pretty wide. So I need an extension cord tape to run my electric impact. Okay. So wheels are almost as important as what color are you going to paint your car. It's one of the biggest difference in appearance you can do. And actually, generally, it's not that expensive. So I've only ever bought one set of mags in my life. I think that was off of Mike. I didn't even really want them. In fact, I traded them back to Mike for a carburetor. Chrome don't get you home. To me, it never mattered what color the wheels were or the car. I just drove it. So I suppose being in business, I shouldn't mention that too much. But anyhow, I know wheels are very important to a lot of people. So we want to make sure that they're going to fit. The width is important. The offset. The offset is where this flange is in relation to the center of the rim. You could get the same rim, but this bolting flange is way on the inside, which pushes the tire way out. So there's different ways, solutions to making a rim fit. And it all comes down to personal preference. We'll take off the gunny wheels. One day, I'm gonna get a set of these. So, and you know, rims have to make sure they fit over. Look at these Willwood brakes. They are beautiful. So when you're priming the car and grinding and welding, we don't hit those. And I don't want to slam this rim into that. So I'm going to be very careful. Okay. Now, the only concern I would have about running these is whether the studs are long enough. So we might have to change studs to make them longer. Ooh, those are pretty wide. You see, I've got the jack stands underneath the axle. This is actually how the body would sit over top of this. And wow, that's, you see in behind here, and this is what's important. I've got to measure the distance from the back side of the tire to the body. And I also have to make sure the body's bolted down, centered on the frame. So, I mean, it's a good looking rim. This is the tough one. You know, when I worked with JF, he was always, you know, we'd make our own wheel wells, or he would. And he'd come way down over the top of the wheel. The Nomad's a different type of wheel opening. Anyhow, I'll put the front one on. And see how it looks. So, I'm gonna find the bag of wheel nuts, because Ed gave us everything we needed. Ah, there we go. So, I would be very curious, because I'm the wrong guy to ask about wheels. When somebody comes up and says, what do you think of the mags and the tires? I go, they're round. That's all that matters to me. But, okay. Okay. So this is one of the things you run into. The center of the rim. Well, let's just have a look at it first. I mean, what's it look like? Okay, I gotta take this off and show you what's happening. This is hitting the inside of the cap. I'm gonna take that off and try it again. Geez, we're not gonna gain much. Might be enough, we don't need much. And we'll see. This is the kind of thing, before you go spend 10 grand on a set of mags, you want to test fit somehow. But unfortunately, no wheel shop is gonna say, oh yeah, here's 10,000 worth of mags, try them out and bring them back if they don't fit. So you need a guy like Ed who says, hey, let me try them out. Or go ahead and try them out. Wow. I'm going to turn that straight ahead. Now, again, the car's sitting about how it's going to sit.
Does that cap come off the rims?
I don't know. I'm sure it does. Like, it's not machined part of the wheel. So I'm sure I could knock it out. But, I mean, what do you think of the look? It's a good look. The problem with these back tires, I'm going to put a straight edge on it. So you have to have at least 2 inches travel up and down in your rear suspension. So if you see this, you can see, okay, it's wide, it's outside the wheel well. Now back in the old days, we just bend this out. Get a bunch of your buddies to sit on the edge of the roof, put a baseball bat over it, drive forward and back until it bends out the quarter panel. I don't think Lyle wants that. So, we have to measure how much too wide and also how much room we have in. I might have to grab that camera from you, Lou. show the measurement. First, I gotta find my tape measure. There it is. And flashlight. Okay. So I'm gonna lay under here. Okay. You know, this is an incredible flashlight, but I've never read the directions. Like, how come it doesn't have an on-off switch? Well, it does, but it doesn't work. And every time I charge this thing up, I go through this.
Are those magnets on either end?
Yes, they are.
Oh, cool.
They're way cool. Yes. Okay, super bright. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this distance, right? So if I had a tape measure, where the numbers weren't worn off, you would see that's about 1.25 inches from the bulge to the steel. Now you can run that down to, 3/4 inch. It depends on your suspension. This has a panhard bar, so it generally doesn't move too much, but it does, there's a little tiny bit of side to side. I wouldn't go tighter than 5/8. So I'm going to try to measure this the other way. This is really a crappy tape measure. Okay, I guess you could call that 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, right? Agreed? Okay. So, if we had a rim that had 3/4 inch offset, now let's see what that would do with the front. Okay, to tuck up inside the inner lip on this fender is, well, I need like 2 more hands. Can you hold that too? Okay, so when you see this, there's a lip inside there. That means, is that 3/4 inch? You know, wouldn't it be cool if I had a tape measure that we could read the numbers? I'll go get one. Okay, I gotta get the pry bar. Okay. And I better go check there. Okay, all right. That made a little bit of difference, for sure. So now, I don't have to show you again. Okay.
You know where to put the light?
1.25 inches. So, 1.25 inches. Now you can see okay, I'll let you see with the body centered. It's about 3/4 inch. before it would rub. Now that's with 0 tolerance. So if this wheel was offset 3/4 of an inch inside, that would leave you 1/2 inch from the body and you'd still be rubbing here. You would be right at 0. Now I could hammer that inner lip and gain 1/4 inch. That's how tight this stuff can get. And if you look at some of these high-end cars, it's pretty crazy. But people run a very, very tight tolerance. So basically, we look at the look, the ride height we can adjust, but the width in here, this is what matters. So this tire is pushing the limits of good taste. So, and for those people who are tire freaks, this is a 305, 35, 18. If this was a 295, I think it would just slip in there. I don't even know if they make a 295. But tires or something, like I say, they're round. They're not flat, I'm happy. But a lot of people, our camera lady included, Lou, freak on tires, and they know everything about tires. And so Lou does. I couldn't tell you if they make a 295, I'm sure they do. Anyhow, my job is to make sure it fits. What I need to do is put a couple of bolts in at some point, not today, and then I set the body down and I measure side to side. Rear ends can be slightly different, and who knows, we got to make sure it's all bolted down and lined up properly. But this gives us a ballpark that this tire is pushing the limits of good taste. Even if the body wasn't on the frame, this just fits the hole. So unless Lyle wants me to cut this, or just, oh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. I could, see that? We could gain, but we'll see. You see, that's the kind of stuff where all of a sudden you get carried away. Now, I was talking to Lyle yesterday. He gave me a measurement on some of the chrome up front. The spears that go down the side. There's so many things that we have to check to fit before we paint. The paint he's chosen, which I'm not ready to show you yet. I'm going to do some spray outs. It's a tri-coat. It's super tough to spray for me. I'm going to do some spray outs and see how it goes. So he's going to bring some more chrome up, but we fit everything, because if we go to put it together and chrome doesn't fit around the door right, that's a major, because tri-coats, it's going to be pretty tough to touch it up perfectly, unless maybe you're a freaking awesome painter. But yeah, I'll just call Rubber Arm, Midnight Paint and Body, let him do it. So check out his channel. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, I got my phone fixed yesterday. You wouldn't believe it. So now we can use my phone to do a YouTube live and you'll be able to hear me. So I went to Dr. Phone Fix in Grand Prairie and I bared my throat to the guy. I had no idea. He'd give me new parts, speakers, everything. And he went, maybe I can just clean it for you. And he cleaned it and it works perfectly. So thank you. And his name, he doesn't have his name on here. But anyhow, it was freaking awesome. I want to thank him for that. Good stuff. All right, so we tried out the wheels, the front. What matters now, you keep running into the offset matters up front, because when you turn the wheel, is it going to hit the frame or the new suspension, the new sway bar? So I'm going to put a bolt on here. Now again, remember, this one doesn't fit. That center of the hub sticks out too far. Now, wait a minute. I need a different size stud up here. These 7/16. Yeah, they're 7/16 and these studs are 1/2 inch, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go turn it all the way. I'm going to use the other wheel to turn it and see how close it comes, just to get an idea. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is what we're talking about up here. We are a 1/4 inch or less from the sway bar here, Lou. So you see right here? You can't really see that, can you?
Want the light?
Yeah, please. So, look at this beautiful suspension Lyle put on. Okay, so you see how tight that is? Now, I mean, that's all right, you know, without having it bolted up properly. But these are the things you watch for. So, we'll have to check, you know, the offset. You couldn't move this one in much farther. We're going to try to reverse it here, Lou. I'm going to turn it the other way. See how the back part looks. Now again, everything's just sort of roughly set up. Okay, so we have lots of room back here. So you can see we're not close anywhere here. You could run a much taller tire. None of that would be an issue. It's just the front. So we can use these measurements. This offset, this tire would work on here. It's just the center of the hub. This would have to be different. Now, yes, that would, we could knock that hub out and it would fit. Oops. Okay, those are beautiful. Okay, so he would need to know that now. So when he goes over wheels, that's going to be, well, you could put a 1/4 inch spacer on here and that would do it. Really don't like using spacers.
And there's still room with a spacer on around everything? Like your fenders and everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll slip this back on. Yeah, it doesn't stick out too far. That's what it comes down to. But I thought this one was good.
Now you have your cap on.
There. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. And we got at least 2 inches travel. You could space that out a 1/4 inch. Well, it already is. So, it's tight. And again, to do a proper measurement, we want to have it bolted down. I mean, it's sitting where it's going to sit, but there could be an 1/8 or a 1/4 movement. And that's really important. So, I wanted to have a look. I can talk to Lyle, show him, see what he thinks of it, see if Ed actually wants to sell these. I can make the back ones fit, but anyhow, there's so many things that come into tires. Did they clear the brakes? Did they clear the fender? Did they hit the body? Did they hit the sway bar, the offset? It takes a lot of figuring. You don't just grab a rim and throw it on in general, which is why I generally just throw on a steel stock rim. No issues. All right, guys, that's my version of Build It Fit today. I'm gonna go back to changing that outer rocker. Let me see. So I'm trying to finish this off, the metal fitting gaps, so we can start doing body work. Yeah, it's a hard push to that because in a month we're hoping to have this in primer, maybe painted inners. I don't know, we'll see. Lyle's got a flexible schedule. He's not that concerned, but I really want to try to get things on track. So let us know what you think of the wheels and tires. Like, comment, subscribe. Cheers.